All right, now on to content. Definitely think longer form. Longer form is, gone are the days of the 300 word press release. Some of the other providers out there may charge you for more than 300 words. As you know, we don't have any content limitations as far as that goes. We don't charge you for extra words, so use the extra words. We generally like to see around 650 words. Honestly, anything over 500 is going to be fine. Some specific verticals, especially more technical verticals, content heavy verticals in general, where there's just a lot of, knowledge and kind of, detail that you might want to cover. 1,000 words, 1,200 words. I've seen people send out 2,000 word releases before. That can help. You will probably know if this is relevant for your vertical. If you're writing your own, get really familiar with our guidelines. The biggest delay we see with DIY releases, the stuff that you write yourself or that you have other people write for you that are not our writers, is the back and forth with our editorial staff to get your content into guideline compliance. It's a huge issue, and honestly, it's one reason why a lot of people that start with self-written releases end up having us do all the writing, because it's just a big pain to go back and forth. Even though our guidelines don't really change, a lot of times your VAs will change, and then they need to get into the swing of things. It turns into a big disaster. Obviously, don't use templates. Don't use fill in the blank releases, boilerplates, anything like that. That kind of thing is it just gets rejected, and we kind of get to know whether you are using those types of templates over time. And we can often see how people fix it and then they regress back to it, and they fix it and then they regress back to it. So, really focus on that unique content every single time. News article style. No blog posts, listicles, reviews, etc. When I say news article, remember, you talk, the guidelines have a lot of detail on that, but it's got to be something that could be published as a news article, not an editorial. And so no editorializing, no opinions, nothing like that. Put all of that in the quotes. Most people tell us to come up with the quotes. That's fine, we can do that, but you're really missing out if you're not generating your own quotes and making sure that you can get that little bit of salesiness in there, get that little bit of editorial type content in there that is there for the human reader, not the machine reader. And this is a little bit different from what I've said in the past, because what I've said in the past is, don't really worry about the human. I'm asking you to worry a little bit more about the human now, because we're seeing so many people click through on those branded searches and reading those press releases. So we want them to get, we don't want to squander that opportunity to put some a carefully crafted message in front of them. And then like I said, don't use the blog post, listicles, reviews, that sort of thing. Use your release to link to that kind of content if you want, but not to publish that kind of content.